All right, discipleship leaders, greetings. Welcome to week one of the Always Ready preview. This will be a regular weekly conversation, 5 minutes of looking forward to the upcoming unit within our Always Ready study. And so whether you're a small group leader or a member of a group or part of the River Oaks family and joining along in this year of gospel sharing and disciple making, I hope you find this time helpful. We'll be looking at some of the questions, talking about the insight of the scripture passage for the week, how it all connects, and perhaps how you might be able to have a more fruitful time in your group and or your individual time of study. And so, week one, unit one, 1 Peter 3, 8 through 18, always ready to give an answer. All right, week one, unit one, always ready to give an answer. You got your workbook, you got your multiply book. Let's talk a little bit about the objectives for the week and what to expect and maybe some things that are helpful for you and your group or your personal study. First of all, group leaders, reach out to your members. A lot of them are new. Let them know you're praying for them. Let them know that you're encouraging them in their faithfulness, in their participation, in their preparation. Like no other year, the potential for the Lord to work through a church-wide emphasis on understanding, articulating, and sharing the gospel, while also coming alongside those that have questions about the fundamentals of their faith, growing with new believers after having shared the gospel. It has never been more critical than to be faithful to our time in the Word and our time in fellowship and in community and in the continuous growing in that desire and understanding and willingness. We truly believe the Lord can use this. Let's just pray that He protects our schedules and He protects our priorities and He protects our hearts in this. And so reach out to them, text them, email them, give them a call, write them a note card, stop by their house. But let's really encourage our group members this week that we would see them in the week one meetings and time together. And so, 1 Peter 3, 8 through 18, you're going to see the verse at the top of the page. This is the anchor verse. If there's one to memorize all year, it's 1 Peter 3, 15. But in your hearts, honor Christ the Lord is holy, always being ready to give a defense to anyone who asks you the reason for the hope that is in you, yet do it with gentleness and respect. So much is going on. We're going to unpack all of it in the sermon this Sunday. But you're also going to have conversation about it, and this is the one we just want to reflect on daily, and we want it to just be second nature to us. We want to live this passage out. So emphasize 3:15 in your communication with your group. Now, if you look at the plan to the week, passage in Scripture, 1 Peter 3, 8 through 18, and then reflect on 3:15. Review the foreword and the how to use in the multiply book. It's pages 7 through 14. Really simple reading. You're going to understand what's at the heart of the book, how it is going to really supplement our understanding of growing in discipleship. A bit of information for you. We're not going sequentially through the first half of the book. We will be going from different chapters to different chapters each week based on the text in the book of Acts and on the emphasis in our workbook. So these all connect, but not necessarily in order in the multiply book. So rule of thumb is don't read ahead. Wait till that week, and then it's fresh, and it will be purposeful, and you'll know exactly what pages to read in order to put it all together. But this week, just read the introduction. And then you've got the QR code in your book, the Gen Sin 3 Circles video. Again, just a flavor, nothing to learn, nothing to practice, just to watch these students demonstrate and explain the 3 circles and give that presentation. We'll start to get a lot of us familiar with it who may not have been familiar with it prior. But that's just, again, the introduction. Now, for the purpose, like I mentioned, the introductory purpose, but also around 1 Peter 3, several purposes. One, the call to readiness, the fact that we have been commissioned to be sent to be able to share and to teach. But then the emphasis really is, with Peter, is our life, the life we're living, the witness we're living out in our life. Is it worthy? Does it beg the questions from unbelievers? Which is really what Peter's saying, is live in such a way that there be so much change and transformation in your own life that unbelievers cannot not ask you about it. There's something different about you. Are you living in a way that is honoring to God in such a way that it stands out from the world? Not that you're promoting it, not that you're going around saying, I am a Christian. Quite the opposite with Peter. In fact, he's saying you shouldn't say a word. You shouldn't have to. They should know that something's different, and so the question is our lives begging of that question? And then the being always ready to give that defense. You'll hear more about that in the sermon, to break that down some. And then lastly, with gentleness, respect, meekness, humility. Again, I think we have a lot of opportunity in our engagement with the world, in our relational evangelism, to demonstrate gentleness and respect, where perhaps much of the church's history, at least in the American West for the last century, has not necessarily seen evangelism as something that is gentle and respectful. And so we want to talk about that. What does that look like? And how do we do that? And what does that mean to now our willingness to listen and be patient and continue to follow up and develop genuine compassion and concern and care for unbelievers in our life who the Lord have led there and placed there? And how do we live missionally in that way? And so that's really the emphasis this week. In the questions, the ponder, the scale, everyone needs to be honest. How ready are you to share the gospel? Equipped, capable, confident, willing, desire? 1 is a never, 10 is an always. Where are you right now? Let's be honest about it so we can grow in that. The other questions I think I would emphasize is that question 3, there are 3 distinct instructions that Peter gives in that 3:15 verse. And I kind of went over them there at the first, but really that honor Christ the Lord in your heart as holy, sanctify Him in your heart, set Him apart. That's one instruction. That goes to that's really a condition of readiness. And then that second part, always be ready to give an answer to anyone who asks you the reason for your hope. All right, so that's the mission of readiness. That's an instruction. And then the last one is the do it with gentleness and respect. That's really the evidence of our readiness, the sort of maturity of our readiness. And so 3 instructions Peter gives, and that should be part of that question there. The hope Peter is referring to is the gospel hope. It is the hope of assurance of our salvation, of our eternal dwelling with the Lord, not being separated from Him for eternity. Hope here is not wishful thinking. The word for hope is expected thinking, anticipated thinking. Not a pipe dream, but something that we are looking forward to, knowing it will happen in the future. That's what the hope is here. And then questions 5 and 6, hopefully convicting for all of us. Really, one of them just asks, why might an unbeliever think to ask you about the hope in your life? What is there about your life that demonstrates a testimony of hope that might draw others to it? And then question 6 is the opposite of that. What is it in your life that might repel unbelievers, or at least discourage unbelievers from asking you about the hope in your life that doesn't look distinct in any way from their own hope, which is not as true or complete or certain? So really want to think about that. And of course, the final question, Peter connects the life of a believer to Christ in verses 16 through 18, that Christ also did good in His suffering. And so even in our suffering, we're to do good and always be ready to share. And it's so that we might also be like Christ, who did that for us. And so that's a really should resonate with us on motivation and inform why we are called to share. And then lastly, put into action. Those are not quite questions, but they are activities or things we can do. You'll see the ready scale again of really how ready would you like to be? Let's flip that question from number 1. And then there's some items to circle around where we are in our own lives relative to the gospel and to discipleship, and where would we like to see us grow the most over this next year. And this will make sense to know, articulate, or share, or to become mature in and to disciple others. Which ones? And this isn't a loaded question. Really, you should pick maybe 1 or 2 of them, not all 6 of them. We really know where we are, and we really just want to grow a little bit, move forward, to that next one, or just keep progressing. But what is on our heart? What has God placed on our heart to where we really need to emphasize growth and be encouraged in this year? After reading Multiply, after watching the video, there's a couple of points there to reflect on what resonated with you through those sources. For Multiply, I wrote some things here that really the emphasis is on trying to get away from the spectator mentality that modern churches seem to get, and that we are to really take hold of the fact that all of us are ministers called to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, that we're called to teach what we learn throughout this study and through just what the Lord shows us, to talk about it throughout the week. So be encouraged in that. Encourage your members. That Scripture transforms us into His image. And again, that change should be what draws others to us. And then lastly, the three circles sharing, a great example in natural transitions to gospel conversations. So I think that's really at the heart of it this week. And I just, if you got any questions, if anything comes up, of course, let us know. But we're eager to get started. And we just pray the Lord's blessing over your time. Again, your individual time and any collective time that you're participating in relative to Always Ready. And we hope you have a wonderful week. And we will see you right back here at Always Ready Preview next week.